room 1 about?
So room 1 is the player characters have been just gone through the training in a tavern. They saw a silhouette of a wolf running past the window, and they realized they're in a rush. They need to rush into the forest even though they've been advised against it. So they rush into room 1, which is a forest area, and they realize they need to get some good rest.
Okay.
So the parties have to divide into 3 watches, first, second, and third watch, and the spellcaster have to be on the first or the third watch to get their 8 hours of sleep. Alright, so basically we get the party to divide into the 3 watches, and then there's a big 6-sided foam dice that there's 2 sides each for first watch, second watch, third watch. And then the DM rolls that dice to determine which watch the werewolf attack comes in from.
Okay.
And then at that point, only that watch is waking up and can act. The second round, everyone else is awake, but generally they have armor, so they still cannot act this round unless they're a wizard or a monk, or just they're basically wearing no armor.
Right.
The third round is when everyone can join in on the combat.
Okay.
During this time, the werewolf is trying to get some scratches in on as many people as possible to spread the disease a little.
Yep. And so there's lycanthropy for anyone who gets any hits from them?
Correct. If you get hit by a werewolf, you have to make a savings throw. And if you fail that, you contract lycanthropy.
Okay. Room 2.
Alright, room 2 is, so they've just been woken up, attacked by a werewolf, they escape, and then they escape into a dryad clearing. Now the dryad has a precious egg that is stuck in a tree trunk. The tree trunk is about maybe 6 foot wide, hollow with lots of little openings on the side.
Okay.
And she instructs the party to find the twigs to try to figure out how to get the egg out. So it's kind of like a cooperative chopstick game where you try to get at least a pair of sticks. And the easiest way to do that is to get the 2 sticks and push an egg and roll it up against one side of the wall. And then as you get high enough, another pair can bring it up to another level.
Okay. And then eventually you get it out of the tree.
Yeah, you get it out of the tree. If you're really good, you can try to clamp down on both sides, but with a hard egg and a smooth surface, it's really, really hard.
Okay.
So this room is also the same on both sides. And then what's different with this room is that the dryad is the DM for the room. And as the party completes this room, these dryads will follow them into room 3.
Room 3, puzzle.
Room 3, puzzle, right. So the dryad brings the party in, explains to them that her mother tree has been hurting, and she prayed to the moon goddess for guidance. And she fell into a trance. When she woke up, there was a lilac blossom in her hand, and an engraving on the waterfall that reads, Stew Lilac Draft. So there's also a rope box in this room, which will give you as well as the clue is that you're supposed to reflect on what you have learned. The trick is that if the party points the lilac blossom at a waterfall, the DM will use a remote trigger to turn off the waterfall, and then you should be able to see through the reflection on the water that when you reverse stew lilac draft, you get graft lilac stem.
Oh, okay.
So what they're supposed to do is use the props provided in the room, bring the lilac stem to the tree, and then pour some of that magical fountain water onto that.
Okay.
And that heals the tree and restores its wound.
Okay. Room 3 on the combat side.
Room 3 on the combat side, the dryad leads them into a different clearing where there's a tree stump and a treasure chest on it. As normal adventurers goes, everyone goes for the treasure chest against their better judgment.
Yes.
As they approach that, the DM will alert them that it is just an illusion. The treasure chest does not exist. And then a grappling vine will come out and ensnare the closest person.
Oh.
So what you're trying to do is you're trying to hit the extremities of the vines without hitting the player that's stuck inside. So any anytime you hit the main body of that figure, as well as your player graphics on the side, your player friend takes the damage.
Okay.
And a lot of times you'll hit the vine and the player at the same time. Any kind of area effect also hits both of them at the same time.
Okay.
Now this is room 3, so it's non-lethal. What that means is, as a player is dropped down to 0 hit point, they're knocked unconscious and restored to 1 hit point. The vine releases them and grabs another person.
Okay. Room 4.
Room 4. All right, we're moving into a river crossing, where as you remember, all this time the party is being hounded by the sound of werewolves on their heels. So they come to this river crossing. The water is very rapid, but the elves of old times in this forest have used the moonstones to create crossings. So what they have is a set of round stone plates that they have to connect with fixed length planks. So the planks have to fit pretty much exactly the right distance between 2 plates to make that connection. Now, to make this more interesting, we created several dead ends.
Yes.
And it's pretty hard to kind of eyeball the exact distance in the dark. So as they try to figure that out, the party needs to make several crossings because there are less connectors than the correct route requires.
Right. So eventually, when they get part of the party across, they're gonna have to take some of the boards and bring them back to get the rest of the party.
Exactly. So room 5, they come into a different section of the forest where there is a glowing obelisk. I believe the party has been clued earlier that an obelisk will transport them to Cogman's tower. So they will try to figure out if this is the correct one. And actually a few of the party have actually figured out the symbol on the obelisk is false.
So if they don't activate it, then they end up moving on?
They just move on with they move on peacefully through the room.
Okay. And otherwise we get the will-o-wisp combat.
Otherwise the will-o-wisp, yes. As you approach, there's a pit trap. So the will-o-wisp will come in and attack the party. And the will-o-wisp is actually not that strong. It's really hard to hit.
Yes.
So on the graphic, it's concentric rings, and the 20 is a very small dot in the middle. And the will-o-wisp being, the agile flyer it is, has pretty good AC and a certain amount of magical immunities. So you need to use force magic or magical weapons, that sort of thing.
Right. Okay. Room 6.
Room 6. It's the same thing. Yep. So they come to a different crossing of a chasm, and then it's basically a rope puzzle. So they're taught that with the 2 sets of ropes, they must form a star pattern with the rope being taut. So there's 2 sets of ropes, a set of black ones and a set of white ones. There's 5 each. Now they're different length. The black ones, if you try to string them across the star pattern, the star pentagon, there is some slack to them. The white ones, if you try to string it across, it will be very tight to the point that you should know this is not the correct path. So what they're supposed to do is use the black strings to form a 5-pointed star pattern, and then so each string goes across the pentagon to the next diagonal across, I guess.
Right.
From a standard star pattern, and the white one will loop through the star pattern and go to an adjacent peg.
Okay.
So it forms a little chevron with each of the side of the pentagon.
Okay. Okay. Room 7 puzzle.
Room 7 puzzle. Okay, this is this room actually gets the most party death because room 7 puzzle, as usual, it's each attempt costs you a life. So you come to a room with a 10-sided pedestal with a golden key in the middle. So that key is your entrance to Cogman's tower. And around the 10 sides, in counterclockwise, you have increasing size of goblins. All these goblins come in pairs, and each of them has a description, like bronze dragon bile, green dragon blood,
right?
Things like that. A pair of descriptions. And what you're supposed to do is look around the room as you do in puzzle rooms. You notice there's behind the fence there's a set of fairy statues. Basically, they're supposed to represent the fairy pairings. Each of the fairy actually represent the answer to one of the pairings.
Okay.
So for the pair I just described, the green dragon and the bronze dragon, you'll notice there is a bronze fairy.
Okay.
Where all the other fairies are they're ceramic, that one is bronze, so you know it's bronze. There's other ones that's holding an egg, or other ones in certain postures. Those are supposed to be your clue.
Okay, so then you have to pour one from each of the pairings into the...
Right, starting from the smallest pair. You're supposed to choose the correct one, pour into the center goblet containing the key. As you do that, the DM will trigger a sound effect notifying you whether you did that correctly or not. And if you did it wrong, the person doing the pouring is dead.
Okay.
But we still have a fair amount of people that's not getting it.
Right.
In the initial first day, it was a little bit too easy because all the answer happened to be on the same side.
Okay.
And of course, that's been fixed over time, so hopefully that'll balance out.
Room 7 combat.
Alright, room 7 combat is where we have our main showpiece prop over here. We have a giant treant that is set up on a cantilever with spring loaded. The arms are hooked to the bars, and we have an NPC stagehand in the back. So when the DM triggers the sound cue, he will walk in the treant slowly with the lumbering sound effects, and then he will kind of hover around the combat board.
Yeah, I saw the treant. He looks really good.
It looks really good. The eyes are glowing red, the arms are long and stringy, and the player actually, it makes the players fearful of coming close to the combat boards.
Cool.
So, especially if a party of players that we know pretty well come in, the DM will say, well, come over to this side, and the treant will actually give you a nice grab.
Yeah.